Hello and welcome to this meeting on blissful awareness. Here we discuss spiritual matters and things which concern the seekers on their path or anything which they want to discuss. It is a forum to talk where everybody can express their views or their experiences, their thoughts. Nothing the inhibition should be gone and can be a very mutual sharing platform where we can discuss about spiritual and other matters. To start with, there are a few questions. We'll start there from there, and if any question comes in between, we can take that. Or anyone wants to speak or write anything, give their comments, they are always free to do so. You can speak also because that is more useful when you express. Those words become very much powerful because they are ingrained into yourself then. Therefore, it is always good to express, and in that, the thought process becomes more clear. The clarity comes in the flow because then it becomes your mind accepts it. Yes, this is right because it is being said, and it is a very strong medium. So let us start from the first question, which is from Sanjeev. What is difference between normal sleep and meditative sleep? So, meditative sleep can have two meanings. One is yog nidra, that is, but in traditional, in the path of knowledge, we say when there is awareness in the sleep, then it is called meditative sleep. But how does that come? So, there are three things. One is waking state, second is dream when you sleep, but there are dreams, or projected state, that is the second one. And third one is deep sleep, when there is neither dreams nor waking, but the third stage when there is a lack of everything. So that itself is another state which is defined as deep sleep. Now, how can that be a meditative sleep and a normal sleep? Very difficult unless it is a matter of experiment, because unless you see it yourself, what is the difference? There is no point trying to understand it conceptually, because let us see, when you get up in the morning, you always say I slept well. You don't say I dreamt well. You have a distinction between good sleep and bad sleep. When we say sleep, it means dreamless sleep. So there is a distinction between dreamless sleep also, the quality of that sleep. Suppose if you are under intoxication and you sleep, or you take some sleeping pills, then in the morning when you get up, you are still very tired. Although you slept for 6 hours, 7 hours, but you are still tired. Whereas some days when you get up in the morning, you say, oh, today was a very beautiful, very nice sleep. And some days it is not as refreshing as some other days. So there is a distinction in sleep also. So when the self knowledge is there, when you know who you are, what you are, and in that, when you abide there, when the abidance is there in the waking state, when you actually understand it, there's no doubt about who you are, what you are. And you always, on the background, this flow is there that whatever experiences are coming, they are just ephemeral, they just change. They keep on changing moment to moment to moment. And I am none of that. So there are only two possibilities. One, that in the waking state, the first possibility is that you are one with the experience, whatever is being experienced, be it any object or body or mind, intellect or any quality, anything which can be experienced. You become one with that because you have forgotten who you are. The other possibility is that you remember what you are, which is the witness or the experiencer, and then everything is flowing like a scenery which flows on the screen. You are the screen on which everything is just changing moment to moment. So these are the only two possibilities in the waking state. There is no third possibility as such. that either you are one with the experience. When we say you are one with the experience, that means you've lost the knowledge that I am the experiencer. For that, those moments when you are one with that flow of the experience. And on other times, you remember and the experience doesn't stop. They keep on flowing. So this second state, when it gets established, which is also called abiding in the self. And how can it be established? It can only be established once the knowledge is very clear, when the mind becomes purer and purer and purer, so that there is a special ability in the intellect to grasp what is being said, to know more intuitively rather than through intellect, that whatever is being said is the truth. And you may not get any direct evidence for it, you may not intellectually grasp it also, but somehow there is something which can still make you understand that yes, this is what I am. So in that understanding, in that special quality of intellect, that abidance happens, that oneness is happening even in duality. So when this gets established in waking state, then slowly it starts percolating down, which we called as awareness. So that awareness starts percolating down first in the dream state, second in the maybe in the projected state, and then it goes into the deep sleep state. So what happens if the awareness comes in deep sleep state? Then you will be just aware that I can exist all by myself without any experiences in which can ruffle me, which can unsettle me, which can disturb me. So that state of deep sleep is actually the foundation of dream and waking state. That is the, like, the ocean and the waves. So waves are dream and waking state, or bubbles are dream and waking state. Whereas the whole ocean, the whole water, the whole pool of water is the deep sleep. So that is the foundation on which dream and waking are coming like bubbles and disappearing. So you don't have to believe this. Just keep on removing the ignorance which has been accumulated over so many years and maybe lifetimes. Just see that ignorance, and that ignorance has no basis, no foundation. So it can be removed as soon as the self knowledge downs. And in that downing, in that moment, the ignorance is dispelled. Because this is not very special, very complicated knowledge, right? That you are non changing, experiences are changing, and I cannot be what is changing. I cannot attain something which is not me through certain effort. So after self knowledge, there is no effort to move up to oneness, or in that wholeness, in the unity, in non duality. There is no way, no mechanism, there is no process by which you can go there. It just is. You have to just know that it is. I mean, I don't know how to put in words, because it happens. It happens with some, and sometimes it doesn't happen. It takes some time to grasp what is being said about non duality. But once you see it, you will never be able to miss it. Meaning, once you know that 1 plus 1 is 2, then the formula is known. You have seen it. You can apply that addition, multiplication, subtraction to any complicated formula in terms of summation, any big numbers you can add. Why? Because you know the fundamental. And that knowing happens with the gross grace of the Guru. It happens with when the time is right. It cannot be forced, and there is no effort after self realization, after self knowledge. So I I think it is better that you know the difference yourself. That what is the difference between normal sleep and meditative sleep, but don't try to force it, because then the boundaries will start disappearing. And if the knowledge is not established and the boundaries get broken up between different stages of different states, then it becomes a dangerous situation. Then you won't be able to tell what is waking and what is dream, and you will take dream to be waking and waking to be dream, so which will be not very good for the survival of the body, which will not be very useful for for you to live in this world. Then slowly and very fast, there can be cases where the whole thing can go wrong. So don't force it. Let the awareness come automatically, gradually. And even if it doesn't come, don't bother about it. Just be established in the awareness in the waking state. That is the only thing which you can do. Rather, even that is not an action. That is also not a thing to be done. But we can say with because of lack of words that in the waking state you can become aware of who you are. That is awareness. And that awareness itself will do the rest. Don't bother about doing too much effort in the experimentation of getting awareness in the dream or in the deep sleep. You can't, first of all, you can't reach directly into the deep sleep. You have normally, and mostly, whatever I know from myself and from others who have actually reached that stage, is that dream awareness in the dreams come first and followed by awareness in the deep sleep. But those are not any milestones which needs to be achieved. What is the milestone is that ignorance needs to be dispelled. If there is ignorance in the waking state, can it be ever imagined or thought that you can go to awareness in the dream and deep sleep? There are few cases in which it may happen that because of earlier practices in previous births, sometimes people get experiences directly, like they get some glimpse of awareness in the dream state, or sometimes even a state of total lack where there is nothing and you are you are there, but and you are aware that you are there. So that is a very rare happening. So many times they get disillusioned if they don't have a guru, if they don't have a master who can guide them, and that what are these experiences, what does it mean. And sometimes if there is lack of knowledge, people get stuck up in those experiences. They think then there's no difference between a normal person who is running after very good experiences in the world and the person who is running after experiences in the spiritual domain. So what is the difference? If you are hankering or running after some good experiences, then there is lack of understanding. That means there is still, you have not understood what is your essence, who you are, and what is the meaning of just being. You can't see the non-duality right now when we are talking. How can you appreciate it when it comes in the deep sleep? I don't think it will be, you will be able to do that. So therefore, go step by step. First step is to be totally aware during the waking state. Increase that moments of awareness, or I would say rather decrease the moments of non-awareness. When you are not aware that what are the consequences of the actions, what is the, you just get carried away with certain emotions, thoughts, feelings, situations, relations. But when there is a lamp, there is a light of awareness, it shines forth. Then the quality of experiences you can experiment in the waking state, that when you are in awareness, what is the quality of the actions which are happening around you? Or what is the actions which are happening through this body mind structure? And what are the actions which are when you are totally identified with body mind and then those actions are happening? So there will be a subtle difference between the two, that when the awareness is there and when the awareness is not there. Just grasp that, just experiment with it. Then you will be able to stay or abide more in awareness in the waking state. And finally, it will be a state which never leaves you, in the sense that it is it comes whenever it is required. It comes with more clarity in understanding. It comes with more peace under situations which are not very peaceful. It comes under difficult situation when a decision is required to be made. It comes like a trailer of the movie. You don't have to see the poster. There are posters earlier also of a movie. You can see the poster and can determine what type of movie it will be: horror, comedy, emotion, whatever. Same way, before the event happens, there will be you will if you are in awareness, you will be able to see the consequences before the event has actually happened. That is awareness. Then you have a certain time between the actual action actually happening and the thought of action coming in. Let me explain it further. Like a thought comes that I should eat uh, some very sweet thing, but at the same time a thought comes that no, it is not good for the health, just for an example. Or I should eat the second helping or third helping, but before that a thought comes, no, it is not good because it will take make me dull, it will make me inert. So you stop with certain amount of emptiness in the stomach, don't full it to the brim. So that type of very very gross things also, you will be able to see the difference when there is awareness and when there is no awareness. Like when you are seeing a movie and you are eating the popcorn, so you just some after some time you realize the bowl is empty. So how it is so empty before? Who ate that? Because there was no awareness of eating of those popcorns. So that happens. But if there is awareness, then you can taste each bite of food which you are taking in, and then you will find that two things: one, that the eating becomes slow; second, there is more juice in whatever you are eating; and third, you eat only what amount which is required. Same way with everything which you do in your life. That is not to say that in awareness action should become slow, but in awareness action become lightened up. They becomes more meaningful. They have a certain amount of beauty in it. They have a certain amount of joy attached in it. So that is a long answer to a small question. I hope anybody can add from their own experience of what does it mean to be in awareness, and whether, I don't know if anybody likes to share that, whether they have gone to awareness in deep sleep without being in awareness in the waking state, or they know anyone like that. I doubt, and if it happens, it is not a very good thing, because let it go through a proper mechanism under the guidance of a guru. That what is awareness? How can you be in awareness if you don't know what is awareness? How can you meditate if you don't know what is meditation? How can you reach the goal if you don't know where is the goal? What is the goal? Same way, first the ignorance should be wiped out. Then everything will become more meaningful, more beautiful. Rajiv has said, isn't it rather than I can exist on myself? It is that this fourth state, which is combined state of other three states, and the paradoxical existence oneness simply comes forth. What you are saying is right, that non-dual state cannot be said to be anything but you. But I think we have to go more deep into it. See, there are steps again in reaching that non-duality. If we have to say the steps, that first you have to see that conceptually it is understood as a in the mind that what is non-duality. The second is that it doesn't come from the outside. That knowledge is not coming from an outside source, be it a person or a guru or a book or you are listening somewhere. No, that non-duality knowledge, if we say it as a knowledge, is not coming from outside, it is coming from within you. This is the second step, that you internalize that, you see that as the thing which is there, as the thing which is only the possibility which exists and nothing else. So that is internalizing the whole thing. Then even that internalizing stops at some point. So that internalizing, when it stops, it is called nirvichar. Sorry, nirvikalp means the imagination stops, the concept stops, the thinking about that I know it stops. Then there is a foundation of, there is a uh, bliss which comes forth, the joy which comes forth. Then you think that I am enjoying, I'm having that joy, I'm having that bliss. So after that, slowly that bliss will also subside. Then what will remain is the one who is knowing that bliss is there. You can't take it away, right? So that one who knows or which exists when the bliss is there, or when you are seeing the sorrows, or when there are no thoughts. So even that I am is there, the fourth step. Finally, that will give rise to wisdom, wherein you can see that this word I am is not necessary now, which is called a very special quality in Hindi, it is called pragya, or in English, perhaps it is called wisdom or discrimination. I don't know. Most probably wisdom. So if that wisdom arises, that special ability of the intellect to see I separate from thought, separate from joy, separate from me being there with the thought. So that state is called, when you surrender the knowledge also of I being the one, I being the many, I being the existence, I being the experiencer. So that state without any thought, without any verbalization of you being something or other, is the non-dual state. So once you are established in that oneness, that non-duality, it will start percolating down. It will start like a rain, like a shade of cloud on a sunny day, like a shade under a beautiful dense tree, wherein you can see that all everything happening around you is perfect as it is. When you can see it to be yourself without any need to verbalize it, put it into words. So that is the non-dual state. It is not that it is a very special experience. It is the experience. It is right now also the experience. It is, if you can see that, if you don't try to run after that experience, but still somehow fell into that experience by what? By grace. By what? By removing the ignorance or removal of the ignorance. Then it just is. Madhuri has written, is experiencing oneness and nothingness different? Is it individuated? Mind is saying, I am one. When there is no boundaries, who is left to say, I am? I think we just discussed what the question you have asked. I hope it is answered. But to answer your first question, is experiencing oneness and nothingness different? See, nothingness, when you say, it means there is nothing, which is not same as saying it is empty. And experiencing oneness is absolutely a different thing. And there is no anyway. Let me ask. I think Guruji has talked about this in on Tapovan on Guru Purnima. But what is the any view which anybody will like to speak, because this is a very beautiful subject which she has brought out, that what is experiencing oneness? Can oneness be experienced? Anybody will like to share their views or thoughts in this particular subject, that can oneness be experienced? Or what is the experience of oneness? Can somebody define it?
Yeah. Hello, Ashwinji. Yeah. It's
Yeah, please.
okay. My question. Okay, my question is whatever there is a question. Can we experience consciousness when we are in deep sleep? And it's linked to both questions. That's why I'm going for that. If I'm just when I'm in the bed, just I sleep. Suddenly I will sleep, and when I wake up, I feel I don't have a dreams in my head. I just when I wake up, whatever the moment I slept, and when I woke up there is in between that time I can't able to differentiate. I just feeling like there is a lapse of some time, and I don't feel anything special there. Just I woke up from that, and yeah, now I can realize. But the consciousness at that time, maybe that consciousness, individual consciousness, maybe disappear from the main big picture. There is still a consciousness available to everybody to experience, but once I wake up, suddenly there is no time concept in the consciousness. That period maybe we don't count at all experientially, but there is the existence of a consciousness. Well, suddenly it will take stories from that point to further. Maybe that is a oneness in some sense. Am I wrong here?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, what is consciousness? You have to define that. Otherwise, I will not understand. Neither anybody in the group will understand what is consciousness. And secondly, the question is, what is the experience of oneness? Can you
Mm.
rephrase it? What is consciousness, first of all?
uh, Awareness of something, just observer.
So there are two different things. Observer is different, and awareness is different, and awareness of something is different. So what is the
Yes,
consciousness again?
it's a experiencer.
Yeah. So use the word experiencer. Then the question will answer will be very different from what I could understand earlier. Now, point is that you said that experiencer was not there when the deep sleep was there. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, the moment I sleep till I wake up, there is no individual experiencer.
There is no individual experiencer. Is there any
Yes.
individual experiencer right now? Forget about deep sleep.
No, there is no individual experiencer. Yes.
Right now, in the waking state, when I am speaking to you, is there any individual experiencer?
No.
So, how can it be there in deep sleep or not there in deep sleep?
Yeah, there is it's a I feel like it's a paradoxical question. For a body mind thing, definitely there is a concept of at particular that moment when we sleep suddenly for individual identity there is no word at all. It's just gone. And once, yeah, in that sense, I am saying
No, no. In whatever sense you are saying, be very clear on what you are saying, right? My question is very clear. Is there any individual experiencer, be it in waking, dream, or deep sleep? If yes or no?
no, no,
Pardon?
no.
No, no. So then what is the question? That deep sleep, the experiencer was not there. That question itself become irrelevant now because it is not there even now. There is no individual experiencer even now. I mean, you have to understand if you are talking about non-duality, even the experiencer and experience are not different. Then how will you put it in words? It means in non-duality, experience is there, experiencer is there. Experiencer is not there, experience is not there. They are merged. There is no one to say that I am the experiencer and this is the experience. That is the state of non-duality. Now, how you will put this in words that it is there and it is not there? Right now, when I am speaking to you, this I, which I say I am speaking, is that the experiencer? Or is that I, which is thinking that I am listening to the words, is that the experiencer? If both are the
Yeah,
experiencer, which is the one who is experiencing the other? There cannot be two experiences, right?
mm,
There can be 2 points of experiences. There can be 2 points where from the experiences are emerging, but there cannot be two experiencer. If there are two experiencers, then the whole concept of non-duality is invalid. We can't just talk about non-duality if there are two experiences. In fact, we are talking about there are no two in sense of experience and experiencer are also not two. That is non-duality. The question of one experiencer or two experiencer are dropped much at a lower level.
Yes.
If that is not clear, then talking about non-duality will not make any sense.
Ashwinji, related to this one, if individual, if there is a frog, for that one, the word is entirely different. Even though the whatever the perception of that word is entirely different, but the uniqueness of a human being and whatever the five senses we have, the world of that individual conscious, maybe it's a dualistic question. Individual consciousness is always all the time and until the body dies, it's the same thing. It can't be feeling like how it frog feels to be. Is that there is a concept of individual way of experiencing universe and the universal? Yeah.
No, you again use the word consciousness. Anyway, you said
Yes.
that there is individual way of experiencing and universal way of experiencing. Are they different? Is there an individual way of experiencing? And what
Yes.
that individual way of experiencing is that which is different from a dog eating a meat or a butterfly eating something or a man eating a food.
Mm,
Experiencing is there, right? But
mm,
that individual experiencing which is happening at one point of place and the experiencing which is happening at other point of place through certain mediums, are they all not an experience?
yes.
Be it whatever you say, they are all
Mm,
experiences, right? You experience seeing me, you experience listening to somebody, you experience eating something. These three experiences, what is the difference between these three experiences? I'm not talking about now going to different individuals or different animals and variety of experiences which are happening. Just stay on one individual. In one individual, there are different experiences. You listening to me, you seeing some movie, you eating some food. These three experiences, they are very different, right? But are they
mm.
different? What is the difference between
Ex-
these three experiences? What is the difference between these three experiences? Very mundane question.
Those are all experiences.
Right,
Eating.
right.
Yeah.
But what is the difference? See, the experience when you go in deep, no, you are only
Mm,
experiencing yourself. That is the
mm,
beauty of it. Ultimately, the experience of an object, it boils down to the experience of the mind. And what is the experience of the mind? The experience of the mind cannot be defined. So there is no difference between these three experiences which we talked about just now because they are all experiences, as you said, and they are all experiences only of the mind. So if they are all experiences only of the mind, where is the difference? Like you, I mean, you eat very delicious food in a dream,
mm,
and in the morning you sometimes feel very satisfied because your body doesn't know that it was a dream in which you have eaten that delicious food. Sometimes you feel very satisfied even in the waking state. Same way, when your deep sleep is there, you feel very, very nice in the morning because of that deep sleep. Anyway,
mm.
contemplate on this. We can discuss offline also about if you want to understand more deeply into what is the difference between two experiences, howsoever different they may appear on the surface, and what is the difference between the one who is experiencing those experiences, and what is the difference between one experience and another experiencer, if we say it like that. One individual is experiencing something through this body mind structure, other individual is experiencing something through the other body mind structure. So are those two experiences or are those two experiences the points of experiences? Are those two just like like a moon is there and there are different ponds, in every pond there is an image of the moon?
Mm.
So are the moon many or there is one moon? If I define moon, you define moon, we are talking about the same thing, right? If
Yes.
one camera goes off in multiple cameras, the building doesn't change, the scenery doesn't change. Only the one point of view is gone. If you see it from pieces, there will be duality. And if you see the pieces, it won't make any sense. But if those pieces are integrated into the whole, then you will see the oneness. So we will come to it. But the question was whether oneness can be experienced. If you or anybody can put some light on that, that was the question we started. Whether oneness can be experienced, because is experiencing oneness and nothingness different? This was the question from Madhuri. Rajiv has written, it's experienced right now, right here. But the moment it's attempted to express it, then there is limitation, except for those who have grasped it completely, like sweet in the mouth. So, what you are saying is that it is there right now, right here. But the moment you want to express it, it cannot be done. So, any other thoughts on this? Because this is, I mean, we should try to grasp it more in more deeper sense. So oneness, whether can it be experienced or can it be, Madhuri has written, it can't be experienced but being only. You can be one, but you can't experience it as something else. Because there is a problem in the question itself. Because if you're talking about oneness, who is experiencing that oneness? If it is, it can be experienced. So if it is being experienced, then there are already two. You can't say it oneness because one is experiencing and something is being experienced. There are two. So oneness cannot be experienced in that sense. But can is there anything else but oneness? When we talk about oneness, it is the oneness between experiencer and experience. That should be very clear. Not about oneness of one human being, a human body instrument, and a second human body instrument. That oneness we are not talking about it. We are talking about the oneness of experience and experiencer. So Madhuri, Madhuri has said it can't be experienced but being only. So you have answered your own question. One, that it cannot be experienced. Two, that whatever experiences are happening is only of oneness. Three, that it only exists whether you say it exists, whether you agree it exists, whether you disagree it exists. But if you can think it from the other perspective. Prove that there are two that exist. Prove the duality. Prove that experiencer and experiencer are different. Then you will realize the beauty of non-duality. So everybody can apply their intellect and find the answer to it. So nothingness is not same as emptiness. Nothingness is absence of something. Whereas in non-duality, in oneness, there is no absence and there is no presence. And there is both absence and both presence. So these words cannot be understood by intellect. That's why when we were discussing some time back, that in different stages we have to take it. First, understanding it conceptually. Second, internalizing it. Third, being in that joy, which is the foundation of that particular knowledge, that understanding. Fourth, that I am there who is knowing this bliss or this knowledge. I still exist. And when that is also left, that comes through a very special kind of wisdom. That special wisdom, it's not very, I mean, you have to be very intellectual to grasp it. No, no. Then it cannot be oneness. But it is available to not very intellectual person and not a dumb person. Even a dumb person or anybody has a potential to understand that. Just you need is an open mind, grace, and presence of a guru to make you see it, not make you believe it, not make you understand it, not make you follow him. Just see your own experience, become aware of your own experience. then nobody can, you will not be ruffled by any challenges or anyone coming and saying, "Ki, no, no, this is not right." You will either keep silent or you will just move away from there, because you know what is your experience, you know what is it that is there, or else you will try to understand from him that why he thinks what he thinks. And mostly you won't find any any evidence or any deep thinking into that conclusion, which any that those are beliefs, right? So if you discuss them, challenge them, or talk to them, and if they have an open mind, either you will accept their views and then you will drop non-duality, or they will accept your views and come to non-duality, if it is done in a more amicable and open manner, with open mind. So this question is experiencing oneness and nothingness different. There is nothing called nothingness. They are just oneness. That is the ultimate truth. And nothingness means absence of something, which is not oneness.
Ashwinji, I have a question. If I'm watching some movie and there is a sound, there is some plays going on. I'm just observing. There is only looking at the colors, shapes, and sizes, but it's not at all processing. I'm just even a sound I'm hearing, but it's not processing. What is this state called? Every
Means you're
moment, if it's
watching a movie and you are not seeing the details of the movie, then what is it called? Or what is the question? Can you just
yeah, yeah.
again repeat it?
I'm just okay, Ashwinji. When I'm watching a movie, it's a play of shapes and sizes. Even people, just it's a action. There is no processing backside. Just it's looking into. Even I'm hearing some sound, but it's no processing going on, and I'm not putting any conclusion on that one. This is not only looking at the movies. While we're having conversation, you are asking question, but I'm just listening. There is no really you are asking question to understand something, but there is no understanding going on. It's just observing that one, and it's not processing anything. That's why I'm unable to reply to your question. I felt like I'm not at all grasping on processing that one. What this kind of a state we call in in your view?
See, I don't know how to explain it, but let me try. So your question in nutshell is that if I am seeing a movie, but I am not uh, evaluating it, not intellectually trying to understand what is happening between two events which is there in the movie, or when I am speaking, I'm asking certain questions, but there is a sort of blankness
Yes,
in understanding the connection to what it is being pointed to. So
yes,
there are two different aspects. Let us come to the movie first. Suppose there is a movie going on and you are not interested in movie. Suppose you are, because of some reason, there is some bad memory which is going on in your mind. You had a fight with your wife or you had with your boss. Still, you are in the movie or theater. So you are not seeing the movie. You're not seeing the nitty gritties and details of the movie, but your mind is entangled somewhere else, right? So in that
no,
those moments, you won't know what is happening in the movie, the niceties, the smallness, or the uh, small things which are there. You can't be able to grasp it. That is one part of not being able to understand, because your whole attention is not there on that point. The second question, which you said that if I'm asking you, but you are not able to understand what is being taught, so we try to understand that more closely now. First, the word should be very clear. The meaning of the word which I am speaking, and the same meaning is being taken by you. If you are using a different word, the meaning will be distorted. So, therefore, it is always useful that if you are using a word which is not defined properly, you should define it, or you should use a new word only when there is a word not, the same word is not available in the definitions which are already described in the path. Then only the communication can happen. Otherwise, it won't be a communication. Second, you are trying to understand it intellectually. Intellectually, there is a limit, because intellect itself is a experience. Third, you are thinking. not you, anybody, whatever you know already, that knowledge is being seen and not that what is being spoken. So everybody, most of the time, is listening to what they already know, or they just want to come to a conclusion by establishing what they already know. So there is a gap. Fourth could be that the intellectual is not of that kind to grasp the subtle differences between what is being spoken. And fifth, the speaker doesn't have the ability to express properly. Sixth, the speaker doesn't know what he is saying. There can be multiple reasons on breaking the communication. So it can be one of the reasons which we just spoke, that happens as a gap between what is being spoken and what is being understood. So forget all communication, forget all words. Just be, just see the air which is touching you right now. Just see the sound which is coming on the ears. Don't try to evaluate it. The eighth one is that if you just see in this moment what is being spoken without trying to internalize it, without trying to gain anything out of it, without trying to find any meaning into it, you will find that still you are able to understand it. That is the grace. That when just being near, which is called Upanishad, Upanishad doesn't mean explaining anything to anybody. It just means sitting near. Sitting where? Near whom? Sitting near those who know how it will happen. It will happen. Don't ask me how it happens. It happens. It is my own experience that it happens like this. I wasted 20 years trying to understand it intellectually, trying to meditate on one thing or other, trying to go to one guru or other. But when it happened in a moment. It happened in an instant. Yes, this is what it is. Then there was no gap. There was no gap in communication. There was no gap in understanding. There was no question which arises. There was nothingness, which Madhuri called nothingness, but that nothingness is actually, the word is wrong, not nothingness. It is the absence of everything and presence of everything. How can we call it nothingness then? You are not there in any of those experiences and you are there in all of those experiences. How can you put it into words? You can see that experience and experiencer are one. And still you can see that whenever you know anything, it is always come as an experience. You cannot know what is experiencer, then how can you know what is oneness? So this is the beauty of it. I hope it makes some sense to you now. Just contemplate, just think, take one subject, take one thought, and just be there with it. Don't try to switch from one thought to other thought. Just take whatever thought you want to take. Go very deep into it. Very, very, very deep means that only that thought is vibrant. It vibrates by itself. Then only you will come to know what is being said on that particular subject. I think anybody else, if they want to add or share their experiences, because I don't want to say which I think is right. I just want to share what is happening with me, what is happening right now in front of me. There are no words to explain what is oneness, but there is, all the words are pointing towards oneness. I mean, all the words means all the words, because the sound is what? A sound is coming from space. We called in Hindi Shabd or Akash. The emptiness, the space is sound. Now it is the other way around. The sound is forming the space, not that the space is forming the sound. The sound is subtler than the space. It is very difficult to understand it. I'm not talking about the sound which is spoken through the mouth. I'm not talking about the sound which is heard through the ears. There is a sound which can be heard without any instrument, without any word, without any meaning assigned to it. That sound is subtler than the space. That is called Om in in Hindi literature, or Pranav, the sound which is not generated through any vibration. That is the sound which is called Nad, or vibration in path of knowledge. That vibration is the essence of whatever is being experienced. That vibration is the experience itself. Without that vibration, what can be experienced? And what is being experienced, how can it be different from that which is experiencing it at that level of understanding, that level of beingness? And if that is grasped, then in each and every experience, there is oneness. There is not a single moment when there is no oneness. Even if you assume yourself to be something else, that is also oneness. Even if there is ignorance, that is also oneness. Even if there is apparent duality, it is also oneness. So, oneness is not any special experience. It cannot be found in any special experience. But either we say it cannot be experienced, or we can say that whatever is being experienced is oneness. Both mean the same. If you can understand this paradox, how it cannot be experienced and it can be experienced, then you will be able to understand that oneness. I hope makes some sense.
Sorry, Ashwinji, just wanted to add a few things.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. Um, I think the usual trap that people get caught up in is this thing that we're always trying to categorize things, we're always trying to define things, and that's how the mind operates. And usually in sports, sometimes they say, "Don't overthink, just do it." And that so truly applies here as well. That when we overthink, when we're thinking of different ways of um, categorizing experiences, categorizing what we are observing and seeing, and even naming them as well, or the language that we use as well, that actually confuses everything, and it makes it even more complicated. One thing I was just reflecting on this. So there's a movie called The Man Who Knew Infinity. I don't know if anyone's watched it. It is on Ramanujan, and he has this. He experiences this, and he's a worshipper of Devi, and then he gets these insights into all the formulas, and he writes the results of those formulas as opposed to writing how he deduced certain things. And what is quite evident when you if you watch that he is in that state of oneness when he is getting that connection. There's countless of examples like that where people no longer, as in the persona, or sometimes we call the jiva, doesn't exist when you are in that state, and that's the most natural, most normal kind of state. But unfortunately, we've all forgotten that because we are so much entrapped in our conditioning, false beliefs, and the mind, which is continuously trying to categorize things. So that is kind of just an example that I thought I'd share with you, but hopefully it helps.
So nice, Andy. I think you have very aptly put it into the words about that oneness. It cannot be explained through words. So I believe it makes sense, because if you understand it, then you just get it. Otherwise, you just are entangled into words. And as you rightly said about, I've seen that movie Ramanujan. So absolutely, there's no way to say that how he reached to that answer without ascribing it to that oneness, which is from where these answers are coming. So the whole memory is one. There is no division as such. Whatever divisions are there in the memory is just an illusion, just a I would say illusion only, delusions, illusions, whatever name you want to give. There is no boundaries between one being and other being. There is no boundary between one memory and other memory. So therefore, it is dangerous if you reach that state without knowing what it is. In the fourth state or the Turiya state, where the awareness is there in all the three states, and it is shining in all the three states, then all the boundaries will disappear. So it's not advisable to experiment with that without under proper guidance after removal of the ignorance or the basic ignorance at least. Then you will be able to really appreciate that. So thank you so much, Andy. It was very useful. And I think we can close our meeting today here. And we will see you tomorrow, next week, Friday, at same time. And thank you so much, all of you, for joining in and sharing your perspective, sharing your thoughts. It's not that I know everything, it is that I am just sharing. I may be wrong. So wherever I am wrong and it is not matching with your experiences, please feel free to change that, to add that, because that adds value to what is being talked about. All these are indications towards something which cannot be talked about, something which is so so precious that we take it for granted, something which is so beautiful that we just ignore its beauty. So all the best to you all. Just keep diving deep into yourself and emerge as the oneness which is there. So thank you very much. See you next week.